In addition to gaining interest and motivation to learn, moving people from unconsciously incompetent to consciously incompetent, you'll need to do a few other things during the introduction phase. This includes covering the agenda. There's always slides that do this at the beginning, but just let people know what we're going to cover during the day. And in fact, it's a good idea to have those written up on a flip chart, and ideally with some timings, so it helps your learners keep track of the progress they're making throughout the day. You'll also want to review the domestics, which include things like health and safety. How do you get out of the building? In the case of an emergency, where are the fire extinguishers? Also covering ground rules, talking about what kind of behaviors are appropriate, what you expect from people, turn off devices, electronic devices, etc. And creating a parking lot flip chart, something that you can capture any questions on that you can't answer, or things that people ask that maybe you know you're going to cover later in the day and you don't want to answer quite yet. So these are just the things you need to do, and there's always a slide at the beginning of the introduction that includes the domestics. But just take a couple of minutes to cover that information. It helps create a learning environment. In the introduction, you'll also want to discuss the learning outcomes. And this is usually a specific slide in the deck that explains what learners will be able to do once the program is finished. And it's listed in terms of behavioral outcomes. Think back to Kirkpatrick Level 3. This is what you'll be able to do once you are done with this class. And you can go back to these throughout the day and say, okay, this behavior, are you able to do this now? And it's, again, tying the learning to specific actions and behaviors so that people know, when I get back on the job, this is what I need to be doing, And then finally, you're going to check your understanding. And this means see what people already know about the subject. What previous experience do they already have? And you can do this as part of the introduction when people are naming themselves and saying, this is who I am, this is my background experience. Or you can do it even just by talking with people as they come in. But you want to get a firm grasp around what do people already know, what previous experience do they have with the subject, because you can build off that previous experience. If someone comes in and they've already been to a negotiation skills class, and you're trying to teach them negotiations, they may think, well, I already know this. But if you acknowledge, hey, I know that you've gone through this class already, and some of the stuff we covered today may be similar, but some of it's also going to be different, they'll be more willing to let their guard down and to open themselves up to learning. So as you're preparing to teach back, I want you to think about how are you going to cover the agenda? How are you going to review the domestics? How are you going to review the learning outcomes? And how are you going to check for existing knowledge or understanding even before beginning the training itself?